That's James's veggies bagel sandwich plate. So he has some apples there and tomatoes, shallots, bell pepper, and cucumber. He's going to have blueberries on the side. I'm going to talk about Elizabeth is Missing. That got it's a PBS show. It's based on a novel that got top of the stack from me. Waiting. And Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day to you. Swing Time, Octopus. Take my paper out of there. Making Contact. That was another PBS show. The Quiet Epidemic. It's about ticks. And The Hole in the Ground. That got the bottom. Although it was watchable. It's taking me a while to get up. I shouldn't have went down. I don't know how I'm going to get up again. Okay, there we go. I'm going to review this plant-based burger, which it has a lot of protein. It has a lot of other things too, including a lot of saturated fat, but it's gluten-free, so it looks like if you're wanting to go keto, that might work out for you. So there we go. Oh, there's a lot of work just getting this set up. I had a very bad back night. And I don't know if this pillow will help, but I'll find out. I shouldn't have went hiking yesterday, I think, but I did. And so I was having to use the dining room chair as a walker. It works really well. I don't think this pillow is working for me. Anyway, what you do is you use the back of the chair and you just slide it along. So I had to redo my floors. And I'm a little worried I might end up scratching them up again, but we'll see. Oh, that's better like that. It's good behind me. So anyway, I was having a heck of a time. I didn't know. I don't want to go into the gory details of what I was having to do last night. It always sucks when you have a back time. Anyway, I was having a hard time just trying to get sleep because sharp pinch every time I try to move, and I thought, oh, this will be the end, you know. But no, it was okay. I just and after I used the walker around the house, like before, like years ago, I haven't had to use the chair like a walker before for a long time. It's been many years, but anyway, I know it'll recover from here. And this chair, I had different chairs back then. They were easier to use, much lighter, and they slid better. These ones are, I shouldn't do that. That might make it. Anyway, so I will try the burger and let you know. I think it's very tasty. It has a very good texture, and it doesn't have the right color. They've done what I do this. I put beet pulp in my burger mixes. I make patties, and I put beet and carrot and rutabaga pulp mixed. And depending on what I'm making, like if I'm making hot dogs, well, there's more, whatever, depending on what I'm making, I put more. But those three pulps make good burgers. So, and this color isn't quite right, but what I do with my best burger mixes have shiitake mushroom in it. Shiitake mushroom has a very beefy kind of taste to it, and it has the right color. So President's Choice. You might want to try shiitake. See what you can do. Play around with that. So, because you can always, I mean, mushrooms are great dried. You can grind them up into a powder. See what you can do with that. So that's just my little 2 bits on the burger patty. Then we'll get to the DVD reviews. Now, James told me that he'd be here at noon, and he is not here at noon. It's already, I think it's 12:20, 12:25. So, but anyway, that's okay. This food will keep, and I will eat the patty, and it will be delicious and gone. Now this is like a, well, I guess I should tell you the running time on it, 90 minutes. So it's movie length, or what you would expect to be a movie. And what really made it is Glenda Jackson. Wow. What an awesome actress. It's, they couldn't have gotten anybody to do a better job. It's an excellent mystery. And I've seen mysteries, you know, with Alzheimer's and whatever before, but this one's the best one I've seen. Very good. And I mean, the story's good, but Glenda Jackson, wow, what a great job. Now, I love these movies. I had watched this one before, The Happy Death Day, and I saw them, I got all of these in the, lately I've been just getting the movies out of the return. I used to do that years ago, just to watch whatever was on the return shelf. So I see what other people were interested in, right? Rather than going through the stacks. And then when COVID hit, I thought I better just go through the stacks because nobody is going through those things, and you know, they're probably a lot cleaner. But anyway, so I saw these on the return shelf and I thought, well, you know, I can't really remember this so well, so why don't I get them both out and watch them as they're meant to be seen. And I'm so glad that I did, because I might have forgotten some details where this ended up and where this started out, or whatever, some details in the show. And these are meant to be watched back to back. The story happens that way, and it really gets you to, makes you appreciate this even more. So this movie stands on its own, Happy Death Day. This one not as much, but with this one, awesome. So this one is more traditional kind of horror, but like the love interest in this one says, it's like Groundhog Day. Like she's explaining her situation to the young man, and he says it's like Groundhog Day, and she's like, what? You know, and she's never seen that movie. She's never seen Groundhog Day. And he's like, whoa, you know. And this one, somebody says, oh, it's like Back to the Future. Or Back to the Future 2, sorry. And she's never seen that one either. So that's kind of cute. But that gets you thinking, after watching this one, it gets you thinking, wait a minute, is she in the right world? She thinks she is, but I'm going to give so much away if I talk about these movies. They're awesome. And I mean, for horror teen movies to get this high rating in a whole stack of movies, I mean, I've rated them above Fred and Ginger. Come on. They're worth watching, so just watch them. They're very good. Very well done. Very entertaining. And yeah, you're gonna have to, like, they're horror movies, so be prepared. It's gonna be kind of scary, and Um, but this one's more comedy than this one was. This one was pretty much a horror teen movie, and this one they had some more fun with it. So anyway, very much worth watching. I don't know how much longer I can sit out here. I don't want to risk hurting things worse. But anyway, I managed to get all this meal done. That's impressive, hey? Okay, so Swing Time. This one was from 1936. So a while ago. So it's in black and white. You should expect that. 1936. And Fred and Ginger, you're going to get a lot of singing and dancing. It's great. And this is the Fred and Ginger movie with, what's the song? It's like, I pick myself up, I brush myself off, and start all over again. That one. That's what that one. It's a great song. The other songs aren't as good as far as I'm concerned, but there's a lot of them. This one runs for 103 minutes. And top-notch dancing. And you also see Fred Astaire in blackface in this one, which I expect that's why this was on the return stack, because people are really interested in that sort of thing lately. Whereas, I mean, this isn't Fred and Ginger's best movie, whatever, but I don't care that he's in blackface. Like, there was a... in this one, he's playing Mr. Bojangles and whatever. It's just one scene. It's not through the whole movie or anything like that. And it's just an act. He's on stage in blackface, right? And I was watching, I think it was an Australian show not that long ago. You might have remembered the review. I probably mentioned it in there. But one of the characters was talking to a drag queen and said to the drag queen, "Isn't this woman facing getting a little bit old?" You know, and I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I guess that's what it is. But and James was saying, yeah, well, you know, it's kind of like appreciating women when drag queens do that, and in a way, because they want to look all glammed up. You know, there's not many drag queens that look like are going to dress up and go on stage looking like me, you know, like that. But so I don't know if they're necessarily, I don't know if I agree with James that they're appreciating women, but in maybe some respects he's right. And maybe in some respects some people who were doing blackface were appreciating people too. I don't know. But I didn't get there. The only thing that I saw that was remotely offensive in this movie was when Ginger's character, she's asked a police officer for help. He doesn't believe her, and he tells her to go away. You know, she's stop bothering us, or we're gonna arrest you or something like that. You know, just go away. And she calls him a lousy Cossack. So, boy, that's right. Anyway, but again, that's maybe a sign that of the times, or maybe that's just her character. Maybe we're not supposed to see these characters as perfect people. I don't know. Because I mean, Fred, he's a gambler and he's a bit of a cheat, and you know, not cheating on Ginger or anything like that. I don't mean that way. I mean, he's winning at gambling and he shouldn't be, or whatever. And he's you know, he's a bit of a thief because he's pickpocketed something from Ginger early on and whatever. But he's not terribly responsible. Anyway, it's still a good movie. Definitely worth watching. Now, how did this get under all of those movies? Because you know I love watching nature shows. And the PBS nature shows are great. Octopus Making Contact. I got to learn something about octopus that I'd never learned before. I got to see little octopus babies, and I got to see how the mother octopus, how she. I didn't even know that octopi came from eggs, so I got to learn that. But she lays the eggs and then she blows water over them, so there's constantly getting fresh water blown over them, and so she's protecting them, right? And you can see the little baby octopus in there, and they're developing, and they start doing the color changing even in the egg, and it was great to see. And I thought there was maybe a little bit too much focus on but I guess that was what the story was about, really. It's about a guy he's a biologist, and he decides to set up a saltwater fish tank with an octopus in it, just to hang out with an octopus, get to know their people more through interacting with one, right? And so the octopus is a part of their daily life, and the daughter plays with the octopus all the time, loves it. Anyway, or her, I guess it's a female octopus. Anyway, so, but I like the stuff. I mean, that's interesting enough, watching her play with the octopus and whatever. That's nice. But I had heard something about they kind of touch on it, how the physiology of the octopus, and how the arms are like they act almost independently or whatever of the brain, or they have a mind of their own. And I'd watched another nature show before about octopi, and I think it mentioned more about that, and I seem to remember being more interested in that one, about learning about the neurological tentacle suction thingies and whatever. Anyway, which you didn't get in this one, which I was a bit disappointed about that. But still, it's entertaining. Who doesn't want to watch a show about octopus? The Quiet Epidemic. So I have a lot of notes to read from this, and then I'll maybe talk about it a little bit. The Hole in the Ground got the bottom of the stack. It's a typical kind of horror movie. There's some scary bits, whatever. I didn't find it believable or that interesting, so it got the bottom, unfortunately. So, The Quiet Epidemic. It's a 2022 film about ticks. It starts out a man's collecting birds, songbirds' nest in a catch and release program. There are many ticks on each bird, though it's tough for us to see them. I mean, we may never notice that birds might have ticks, right? Because how close do you get to birds? How much time do you spend with them? Another woman did a 30-meter sweep of a grassy area and found 81 larvae there in one sweep, so that's a lot of ticks. Ticks are not just in the Northeast, as they're thought to be. They're everywhere. Lyme ticks can transfer spirochetes like those responsible for syphilis when they dig into you to get a blood meal. Symptoms like dementia, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, and ALS. Most cases can be treated with antibiotics, but not all. There are many chronic cases. We see a young woman in a wheelchair who had been seriously abused by the medical community regarding her Lyme, that the medical community denied she had. An older woman says that she'd wondered why she could get vaccines for her dogs, but there weren't any available for her, humans. Dr. Steer, Yale Medical School, a type of arthritis most victims children caused by ticks. 25% had a rash, bullseye. With time, his focus changed. He thought that if the treatment didn't work, patients had a different disease, not chronic Lyme. He didn't believe in chronic. Dr. Horowitz found 20% didn't get better with the antibiotics, and symptoms would go, then return. The spirochetes drill through joint cartilage, heart, brain. The disease changes form. People are commonly diagnosed with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, MS, early onset dementia, Alzheimer's. Lyme can imitate all of these diseases. Now, 500,000 of Lyme diagnosis in U.S. each year. That's more than HIV and breast cancer combined. 10% to 20% will stay sick longer than expected. Spirochetes travel from mother to infant. It was confirmed, then dismissed or ignored. Over 18 tick-borne diseases, Lyme and Bartonella combos common. Vicki Logan, a pediatric nurse, had Lyme. She went through the treatment regimen. A year later, she begged her daughter for a spinal tap to have her spinal fluid tested. He did so and sent the fluids to CDC for testing. Sure enough, she had spirochetes flourishing in her spinal fluid. She had 109 days of treatment, but then the Blue Cross wouldn't cover the treatment. Lyme is red flagged and roadblocks set up. Despite antibiotic treatment, the spirochete can persist in mice and monkeys. Some infected in heart, some in joints. Where am I now? Oh, some in brain. The antibiotic regimen only controls the top part of the dandelions. That's what one doctor was saying. They just come back. So, anyway, Dr. Neil Spector had a heart transplant because he was saying, well, I don't know. Anyway, watch the show. You know, I think it's about because the spirochetes, it's just the nature of them. They drill down into joint cartilage and whatever. And so if wherever they're drilled into isn't getting hit with the antibiotics, I guess, then they continue to persist, right? And then they come back and cause more problems again. Dr. Neil Spector had a heart transplant due to misdiagnosis of Lyme disease. He was trying to find a cure, raise awareness that Lyme exists. He died from Lyme complications at age 63. 1980, Bayh-Dole Act, medical patients and conflict of interest. 1982, Borrelia discovered. 1994, lab test for Lyme inaccurate, Western blot drop of blood serum. Bacteria has proteins on outside of it. Your immune system recognizes these. So if your serum shows that your body recognizes that particular protein type, you have a positive CDC Western blot. The powers that be eliminated 2 of these markers because they were going to be used in the development of a vaccine. Because if you had been vaccinated and got the test, they didn't want people who were getting vaccinated then testing positive, even though all they had was the vaccine. Do you see what I'm saying? But it really doesn't make sense that they decided to do that anyway. Because, anyway, I'll continue reading and then talk about it. The 31 and 34 bands are very common for those who've had Lyme. But if you've had these markers, you will test negative even though you have Lyme. So, 2002, the vaccine was taken off the market. Bad side effects, poor sales, or poor demand. Yet the 2 markers, 31 and 34 bands, were not put back into the Lyme test. So, I was thinking, well, that makes sense at first. But then, I'll just put it on my lap. Hold it here. It's not really windy. So, then I thought about it. Well, if they know that people, they'd have your medical file or whatever, and it would say, yeah, got a Lyme disease vaccine. Well, then why? They'd know that even if you tested positive, that's why, right? Because you've had the vaccine. So I don't understand why they took them out in the first place. It doesn't make sense. Anyway. So, and one thing that bothered me was the first bit, watching the birds, the guy catching the birds to try to see whether there was, to do tick counts on the birds. They showed, like, first it bothered me, him catching the birds anyway, but I know they have to do tests and stuff, and that's how they do bird banding and stuff, and they've learned a lot about birds, like migration patterns and whatever from bird banding. So anyway, so that's how they do that, and so I shouldn't be bothered by it, I suppose. But then I saw he had the bags all lined up, hanging there, and the birds twitching away in the bags. You can see the bags moving, and I thought, what? He's looking for the ticks. How long are these birds going to stay in the bag? Does he end up taking out dead birds to do because there's like a whole lot of them there to work on. Where's their water and stuff? And wouldn't they overheat in the bag or have heart attacks? It seemed ridiculous. Bothered me. And I mean, I talked to a woman recently. She was talking to me about Lyme and well, she was talking to me about the disease while we were in Waterton. I don't want to say there's Lyme in Waterton because I don't believe there is, but who knows? Not me. But there certainly are ticks there, because I mean, James picked up a tick yesterday while we were there. We were walking the Sofa Mountain Trail, and I thought, if I do it with baby steps, I'll be okay with the bad back. It doesn't work very well when it's just me, right? Because then if I can't eat, James won't take over. Anyway, but this was a while back. We were talking to a woman about Lyme disease. She brought it up, and she had a daughter who was trying to find various cures. You know, like some of the people in the show, you have these chronic problems, and when you're in pain, you're going to try just about anything when you're in chronic pain to get rid of it. Because, I mean, today, I'm using the dining room chair as a walker just a couple hours ago. And I think I'm okay to do this right now. We'll see. But, I mean, it had been, God, I think maybe I was 32 or something last time. So that was, I think it was probably 15 years ago. I had to use the chair as a walker in the house, and it was a lot worse. I have that perspective that my back has been worse. Like back then when I first hurt my back, it was terrible. I heard it. I knew it was bad